Merry Christmas. Good to see you guys on. Hope you right, Stephen. Good to see you guys on. Hey, Patty. Good to see you. So I am Facebooking live as well as Periscoping at the same time. So good to see you guys all on, jumping on Facebook, jumping on Periscope. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. I am excited to just begin to share some of the things the Lord has been talking to me about concerning this upcoming year. Hello on Facebook, hello on Periscope, Atlanta and Miami. Awesome. Good to see you guys on. Share with your friends. I feel like this is going to helpful. I had a vision last night that I wanted to go ahead and share as we're writing the rest of the word out. So it's going to be insightful. So I hope you guys are having a great week. A Merry Christmas. And I am going to jump right in because I hate when I get on Facebook Lives or Periscopes and they're talking. So I'm going to share all the amazing things with our ministry, with my business, after I share this word with you guys, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So I had a vision last night, and one of the things the Lord spoke to me about was that this is the year of the unveiling. And so he spoke to me about that about 2 weeks ago. Extremely busy, and I was like, Lord, I need time to really dive into this word, to get clarity concerning it. And the reason I'm really busy is because of my little 4-year-old and 2-year-old. I took time off. It's been crazy. So luckily, God speaks to me when I'm showering. I don't know about anybody else, but that happens a lot when I finally get some quiet time just to be with the Lord. And so I was talking to the Lord and getting myself together. The Lord began to show me a drawing board, and the drawing board, the white chalkboard, the white drawing board, and it was covered blue cloth on top of it. And the Lord then took the covering off the blue cloth, off the white chalkboard, and he showed me all these plans that were on that white chalkboard, and on it were strategies and there was information concerning the next year. And so God had begun to talk to me about what he's unveiling this year. A little bit here. I'm going to share most of the word Sunday night at our church at Legacy Center, and then we're going to type it up and you guys can pass it around. We're going to share it. There's about 20 things that the Lord's going to be unveiling year to the next 3 years. So I'm just going to give you a little tidbit today, and then I'll be giving you some more as the weeks come of the season that we're in. This is a really crucial season. For me, when the Lord speaks to me, he doesn't normally just speak to me about 1 year. He speaks to me about consecutive years. So a lot of the word that I'm going to be sharing for today is not just for this year, but it's for the next 3 years or to 7 years. So when he began to show me the strategies on the board, the Lord was saying that this was not necessarily for people who didn't have any strategies, because oftentimes praying and we're encouraging those that don't have direction, that don't have strategy, to seek the Lord. And I still want you to do that. But what I saw is he was taking businesses, he was taking marriages, he was families, he was taking ministries to the next level. And so the first thing that the Lord was unveiling was specific strategy to take your ministry, business, marriage to the next level. And this out there, we have our marriage retreat February 16th, and one of the things that's really important for couples to do is to have clear strategy, not only for the next year but for the next year. We do a lot of strategy planning for our own personal lives, maybe for our businesses, for our ministries, but the next 3 days, the Lord said the next 3 days, he's giving specific strategies that are watching, all those that are listening, all those that are going to watch the replay to lean in. He said Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'm not talking about a prophetic word that's going to begin to happen in January, February, and March. What God is saying is that in these next 3 days, that as we press in, as we seek him, you're going to begin to get the strategy now. So the thing is, these have already been unveiled. And it's like the story of Daniel, where he was contending for the answers of God to be released, right? And he prayed and prayed, and the Lord was has already been released, but you have to be able to attain it. You have to be able to get it. And so many of you guys have been praying and you're believing for 2018 for the strategy to be released. But what the Lord is saying, next 3 days, I feel it so strongly. I truly believe it's the Lord. I don't give time specific words unless I'm very sure that it's the Lord, that many of you guys are going to begin to have dreams. Many of you guys are going to have visions, are going to have visitations, and some of you guys, it's just going to be common sense. The light bulb is just going to come on, and you're going to have clarity and you're going to have insight concerning what you should do. And I gave a word ago about the wind of the Lord that had been released concerning finalizing certain things that needed to be finalized in 2018, so that we did not bring it into 2018. The Lord is saying that we're at that final push, that he's giving you the grace to let things go. He's giving you the grace to make strategies, to jump, to take leaps. There are business that some of you guys, the Lord's been telling you about, and you've been so nervous and afraid because you haven't seen it done before, and you don't know how it will come together. But the Lord is saying, even in these next 3 days, I don't need you to have all the clarity. All I need is for you to have a yes. I need you to have a yes. And so what God is doing is an unveiling. This is one of the first things he's unveiling, is new strategy. And we're in a season of newness, in that there is such a grace to create wealth. There's such a grace for marriages. There's such a grace for ministry, for the harvest, to win souls. This happened to me actually the last 2 weeks, because I met with my husband and I talked to him. We're starting in the next year. I won't spill the beans yet, but we're getting ready to start something at our church. And then I had 2 prophetic friends. One had a dream about me, and the other one, the Lord woke up to talk to him about me. Email me the next day and confirm the strategy that the Lord had given me. So I want to release over you guys is, not only will God give you guys strategy, but that you will have confirmations within short period of time. When we're in a season of acceleration, one of the things that you should see has been released since 2012. We're in a season of acceleration, and some of you guys are experiencing it. Last year was a huge year for business, for a lot of people that I know that stepped out. But when if the word doesn't come to pass right away, what should come right away is confirmation. And some of the confirmation will come from your own depths of your own heart, and some of the confirmation will come from outside. So what I'm releasing over you guys is God is unveiling strategy and insight for your personal life. And even in the area of personal life, what I see, strategy for a better health, healthier. I see strategy for mending relationships that have been broken. I see strategy for reconciliation. One of the greatest tools that the Lord has given believers, ability to reconcile, the ability to leave the door open. And the Lord is saying that and this is a specific word. If it's you, to say that's me. If you're on Periscope and Facebook and you hear it and you say, so the Lord is saying so there's somebody, and it may be more than one. You had a relationship that ended in 2015, and I'm not talking about a romantic relationship. Someone said that's already me, but this is a knowledge. 2015, this relationship ended, and you've been having dreams about this person. You've been thinking about this person, and the Lord is saying that in this year, He's going to give you strategy. Someone said that's me on Periscope, to reconcile. And I'm not necessarily talking about romantic relationship. I'm talking about a friendship, or even a family relationship. All right, we have several people on Periscope, we're saying that word. So the strategy that God is unveiling is for your personal life. The strategy is for your ministry. And this is the thing. You cannot expect to have the harvest that's being released in this hour with the same strategies that you have seen. If you're going to win souls in this hour as a church, as an individual, you need to get into the presence of God. A lot of ministry leaders have gotten by without innovation. And last week I periscoped about innovation and creativity, because we're getting ready to have our career Legacy Center. But one of the things that the Lord is giving is innovation on how to win souls and how to build His ministry, not your ministry. Some of us, our ministry not been growing because we said, well, this is how they do it, so maybe I should do this. This is the people they're having on their platforms, so maybe I need to bring them to my platform. And so God is saying that strategy. He's going to give you faces and names of people that you may not even be in your stream, you may not even be in relationship with, and he's going to ask you to take a step. And with strategies of the Lord, it's not like God is going to give you the strategy and then he's going to do it for you. And that's the thing with the prophetic. While God is saying, I want to visit you, I want to give you strategy, I want to give you insight, there's also a part that you're going to play. And so some of the things that you're going to have to grow in is your ability to take bold steps, your ability to take risks. All right. So I gave you guys one of the things that God is unveiling. He's unveiling strategy. He's unveiling clarity. Some of you guys, and I'm just hearing this right now, he's unveiling your mate. He's going to unveil people that have been in front of you all your life and you did not see them as a spouse, and the Lord is going to begin to unveil that, and you're going to sense it. You're going to have dreams. God's going to visit, and it's going to be very, very clear that this is the Lord that is telling you this. Another thing that the Lord said that he's unveiling, and I'm only giving you guys 3 for those that are jumping on late. I shared that the Lord said that 20 things that he's unveiling between 2018 to 2021. I'm going to blog about it. We're going to share it at our church Sunday night. But one of the other things that he's unveiling is he's unveiling men's hearts to themselves. He's unveiling men's hearts to themselves. So we love the prophetic words that have to do with business, money, marriage, all that stuff. But there's a season where God is really going to get motives of our own heart. He's going to begin to show us who we really are, why we believe what we believe, why we take the jobs on that we take on, why we dress the way that we dress. Because one of the things that the Lord will deal with here is idols. Many of us have made idols of our relationships, idols of leaders, idols of money. We want certain things, not because God's heart, but because we feel like that's what's going to give us a sense of identity or status quo. And so one of the things God is going to begin to unveil, even in the next 3 days, while he's giving strategy, he's also going to begin to give you information concerning your heart, areas that you need to work on, areas that you need to grow in, areas that you need to improve on. And this is so funny. I'm just thinking, he's like a spiritual papa. He messaged me yesterday and he's like, release the word of the Lord. It is the word of the Lord for this season. Go for it. He didn't even know. Been talking to me about it an hour before. He just sent me the message like, you have clarity, you release the word. I'm like, oh man, all right. So God is dealing with our hearts in this season. He's dealing with our allegiances. He's going to deal with our allegiances, who we are aligned with, why we are aligned with them. And some of it is not bad. He's not going to say, leave these people. No, he's going to clarity and confirmation as to why you are aligned with those people. And some of it is he's going to give clarity and confirmation as to why you need to leave. So the next thing that God is dealing with this season is our hearts. Okay. The next thing that God is going to be unveiling is actually his heart to us. We think we know God, but God is getting ready his heart to us. And this is for the intercessors. This is for the lovers. This is for the ones that really just want God. They don't want anything else. They just want God. And some of you, even as you're hearing this video, you're going to begin to feel the weight of the Lord on you, and you're going to begin to feel his presence, because God is going to begin to unravel his heart, and he's going to show you the things that he loves. He's going to begin to show you the things that break his heart. He's going to begin to show you his heart for your family, for the people around you. And so one of the things that we're getting ready to experience in this season is the unveiling of God's heart. And the Lord is saying one of the reasons he did not release the fullness of his heart to some people is because we were ready for it. Because some of us love the God that maybe provides, maybe he's a healer, but we don't understand the God that is jealous. We don't understand the God that fights for us. We don't fierce. He's a fierce warrior. And so some of you guys have entered into maturity where you can receive the fullness of God, the different aspects of who he is, and you're going to begin to experience all those sides of him as well. So God is releasing strategies, unveiling them. He's going to give you clarity. Some of you guys, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to take some questions. Some of you guys, what God is saying is giving you permission to start over. part of the strategy for you is going to be starting over. And part of that starting over, I mean, we're like at the end of this, trumpeting this word of relocation, because destiny is connected to your location for about 3 years now, since 2015. But God is saying that he's allowing you to start over. So there's some do-overs, and he's allowing you to make that decision that you disobeyed in, and he's saying, I'm giving you grace to do it. I told you to do this, you didn't do it yet, but I'm giving you in this season, in these next 3 days, to say yes to me so that you can go forward in those decisions. So I want to encourage you guys to be not afraid to not be afraid. People are afraid to change because they're worried about how people are going to receive them. They're worried about what people are going to say. But in order for you to go to the next level, and this is a principle, in order for grapes to grow on a vine, the vine must constantly be pruned. And part of being pruned is things need to be cut off and they need to be cut away. And you will find that every time vine was pruned and is pruned, it grows better and more fruit in the next season. So some of you guys thought more was better, but the Lord is saying less is more. And so you thought, I have all these connections, I have all these networks. Someone said, I'm ready for NC. Good, move, come. Would love you to have you in Raleigh, to have you at Legacy Center. But some of you guys thought, well, I have all these connections, I have all these, friendships, and I'm good. But the Lord is saying, I need to prune some of these, because this is the thing. More is not necessarily better. We think more is better because of the excess, but you could have 3 really good friends or connections that can push you into destiny more than the 20 or 25 that maybe just cheer you on. And so it's not about, it's about the quality of your connections. It's about the quality of your friendships. It's about the quality of those that you're aligned with. Same thing with multi-streams. And this is a word I'm just getting that are, I am a businesswoman. I believe in multiple streams of income. But one of the issues that I see, and I'm a business coach, so if you need some business coaching strategy for 2018, we're taking appointments in January. You can email us, info@askdrfaith.com. But one of the things that I see with people that are multifaceted is they think that if they have more businesses, if they start more things, then they're going to make more money. Not true, right? So here's one word. Not everybody's a business owner. Not everybody's supposed to be in business for themselves. I have friends that make 6 figures and more that work a 9-to-5 job. I want you to be able to release this idea that the only way to make money, because we're in a social media age, and I have a course, I teach you how to create income from your passion, but it's not just through business, right? So I want you to release that idea. Those of you that have been trying to do businesses and you are struggling, you're not prospering, you're frustrated. The Lord is saying it doesn't necessarily mean more is better. Some of you that he's saying you should have not left your job in the first place. And yes, this is a rebuke, because if you had stayed on it, you'd be at 80,000, you'd be at 90,000, you'd be at 150,000. So we do need the lawyers and the doctors and the people that work the 9-to-5s. But some of you guys, you are called to business. And this is the problem that you've been having. Every business idea, as you think it's for you, is saying that more is not necessarily better. So I'm giving you guys a strategy. Here's a strategy. And when I coach people in business, I say, I want you to succeed in your first venture first. You start another one. Because what we do is we start this one, we start that one, we start that one, and we're mediocre at all of them, and we do not have the money that we're trumpeting on social media, right? So I would you take 6 months, and this is what I do when I'm coaching people in business or multifaceted people, and I'll say for the next 6 months, I want you to strategize on how you're going to get to a certain amount. Once mastered this business, build on top of that. Many of you guys are trying to build multiple things at the same time, and none of them took ground. And so this is a word of wisdom for you, right? When you understand the prophetic wisdom, are strategic information to help give you answers concerning your present or your future. So I'm giving you a word of wisdom to go to the one. And this is how you know. People ask me all the time, you know which business you should do? How do you know what you should focus on? And I say these 3 areas, okay? You want to look at your resources. Do you have time and do you have money for this business idea? Second thing that you want to look at is, do you have experience or do you have an expertise in this thing? Now, you can build expertise as you grow. And this is the thing with social media, expertise is you lost You can teach other people to lose weight. You're an expert in that particular area, but you want to look at your resources, time and money. You want to look at your experience. You want to look at your expertise. And the next thing is you want to look at your anointing. 3 out of those 5 things, then go forward. But if you're like, oh, I got 2 out of the 5, it's probably a wait. You need to wait it out and develop or get the money. So some businesses, some of you guys have started required more capital than what you started with. And so what you ended up doing was going in debt. And this is not what I was going to Facebook Periscope about today, but I'm just trying to, the Lord's you ended up going into debt because of poor counsel. So one strategy, another strategy I want to give you guys this for this year is get around some mentors, get around some coaches, invest in your life, okay? Those of you that are married, make plans to join us. February 16th through the 18th, we shifted our marriage conference to Raleigh, North Carolina. We're going to give you strategies in the area of communication, vision, how to be happy and married, how to have lasting marriage. You can register for that at AskDrFaith.com. You got a strategy, and you got to have people in. The other thing I get asked all the time, what if I don't have coaches or mentors around me? What do I do? Every coach and mentor does not have to be face-to-face. Many of you guys, especially Periscope, Facebook, I am this year. I said I'm going to Facebook Live weekly, but you have been mentored by me via Facebook. You've been mentored by me via Periscope. I've been mentored by people that I've never met face-to-face. So someone's asked if I was a PsyD. Yes, I have a doctorate in psychology. Some of you guys, you're frustrated. I don't have any mentors. I don't have any coaches. I don't have any money. I can't afford Dr. Faith, blah, or whoever, right? But this is the other thing. Here's another business tip. I'm just blessing all you business people. I intentionally have multiple entry points to me, right? So if you can't afford my session, read my blogs, right? And then we have different price tags for our courses. But there is so much information out there. Business people, ministry people, a lot of you guys come say, oh, I don't have anyone to help me, but you don't read. That's the other thing. You're not reading. I mean, the majority of what I know is because I read. The majority of what I know is because I study. The Lord is the best teacher, and he is. The Holy Spirit is a good teacher. But this is the other thing. Some of us are waiting for information from heaven by osmosis, and that information is in a book, and that information is in a person. So the other thing the Lord is coming after some of you guys with, especially our creatives. So I'm going to throw in another little whatever they call them in there, right? Creatives. We need you at our career conference. Things I'm going to deal with is the mind of creatives. We feel like, oh, we could do it on our own. No one's going to understand my craft. No one understands my art. But your next level, and I hear the Lord saying this, is in books, is in the resources around you. And the Holy Spirit is saying, I have done all that I need to do with you. So some of you are super spiritual. You can pray in tongues. You can speak in tongues and stuff, but you don't study. You don't read. Scripture says scripture talks about our gifts, and it talks about measures of faith. And that means that if you start at a particular measure, it can grow. And do you know how your measure of faith grows? Your measure in the prophetic, your measure in healing, your measure in your gifts grow by stewarding it. You know how you steward it? The more you read and the more you study, the more you exercise your gift, you grow in it. So I wanted to just release those 3 strategies to you guys. God wants to deal with your heart, unveil your heart. He's going to unveil himself to you. He's going to unveil plans specifically in the next 3 days. All right. And so I'll release more of this word in the days to come. I'll share it on my social media, and we'll be sharing it at our church. So for those that Virginia, DC, or California, you want to join us Sunday night for our New Year's Eve service. It's going to be amazing at 9 p.m. What else? We have a class for those that want to launch their ministry, planners, those that are not very good at paperwork. Our ministry administration course is January 23rd and 25th. You can register for it at AskDrFaith.com, as well as our marriage retreat. I'll take a couple questions. So for those that join me on Facebook, thank you. Periscope, thank you. I usually take some questions at the end. Someone says, are you still coming to, I'm not sure what that, but I do have my speaking engagement graphic floating around for the next several months. And we are still taking a team to the Bahamas in July. If you missions, in church planting, in evangelism. We're going to have a conference call for anybody that's interested in coming January 2nd or 3rd. I'll release that information to all those that have subscribed at faith.com. You will get it. And we're taking a team to the Bahamas. We're going to train you in church planting, evangelism, and missions in the morning. And in the afternoon, we're going to hit the streets. We're going to be a blessing to the people in this city that we're going to. So if you'd love to come, you can email us at info@askdrfaith.com so that we can release that information to you guys. All right, questions. All right. Am I still coming to Virginia in 2018? Yes, I'll be in Virginia April 7th and 8th, I believe. I'm coming to California March 8th. So great. Any questions on Facebook? Let's see. All right. Everything that you said, I have had revelation and prayer about. Excellent. God has told me. All right. Oh, so this person is saying God has told me that when you are. What does this mean? Well, basically, he's saying that you need to get moving, that you're probably procrastinating and you just need to get moving. That's it. With romantic relationships, how do you know when to sound, when to let go? This is really good. I'm going to be doing some marriage scopes in the next couple of weeks because I need the married couples to join us in North Carolina. But how do you know when to reconcile or let go? This is the thing about marriage, right? The greatest gift that the Lord has given us is the ability to have a will, right? So each individual has a will, and God will never impose his will on somebody else's will. So it could be God's will for your marriage to work out and for you guys to stay together. I mean, often it is. But if that person has blatantly said they don't want it, they don't want you, and they're not putting any work forward, then God is not going to make them love you. God is not going to make them, stay with you. So this is what I say, and it's different for every person when reconciliation. If you have a word from the Lord, right, that God said to believe for this marriage, believe for this relationship, which, that's what we really hope for, then you do want to pray for confirmation, because the thing with romance and the prophetic is that our emotions get involved, and a lot of times it's very difficult for us to differentiate when it's really God and soul. Okay, so when you are believing God concerning a prophetic word that has to do with romance, relationship, marriage, you want to have outside confirmation. And so if God says hold on, then begin to pray that God will begin to give you words of confirmation. And then the other thing is you need to listen when people begin to say you have dead weight. You need to let it go. God is calling you to move forward. But it's very hard to trust your own heart when it comes to marriage, relationships, all that stuff, because our heart is involved. And so you need outside counsel. All right. There was a couple more questions I missed. Started answering this question. How can I practice tuning my heart to hear from heaven musically? So we're going to teach this at our career conference. Our career conference is for writers, singers, musicians. So they want to hear musically. This is really big. So of course, I'm a prophetic worship leader. That is what I'm really passionate about. So one of the first things that you want to learn when you're learning how heart while you lead or while you sing is simply just learning how God communicates with you. So the first thing you need to master is does God speak to you with visions? Do you hear? Do you sense? Once you master that, then within the context of singing, and this is true, guys, you got to have some skill as a musician in order to be a good prophetic worship leader. So if you don't know how to and navigate music, it's really difficult, even if you're hearing, even if you're sensing, even if you're seeing. So the first thing that you want to master, if you want to sing prophetically, dance prophetically, is how God speaks to you, and then obey in that, because he's not always just going to speak to you when you're in your art. He's going to speak to you in simple steps and if you cannot obey those simple things daily, you're not going to be getting information as you're leading or singing or dancing. So that's the first way to lean in, to be able to master your ability to prophetic or sing. So we're going to teach more of that at our career conference. All right. Someone else asked a question. Oh, they said, I see daily 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock, even after losing my job. Now, what does that mean? He sees 12:34 every day. So I'm going to give you guys this because our dream interpretation course is opening up January 1st. You see how I'm doing all that? January 1st, our dream interpretation course is to answer that question. But I hate answering questions about dreams because it just all y'all start going at it. 1, 2, 3, 4 means that things are in line, right? Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It means alignment. So this person is seeing this after they lost their job. And so the Lord is telling you that even though you've lost your job, things are falling into place and things are into alignment. At 1111, that is a common number. 11 is transition, usually transition within transition. So numbers could mean a lot of things. Someone said 555. 5 is the number of grace, and grace in within grace. All right, or triple grace. All right, let's see. Any other questions about the prophetic? No. Someone said, what does this like 6-figure number means? It means the Lord. Just kidding. I was going to joke about it, but I don't know if you're really saved, so I don't want to tell you something and then you get it all confused. God has told me to seek his face about his plan for my business. How? Fast. Fasting is really cool. But you need to figure out how God communicates to you, because not everybody gets the same thing from fasting. Some of you guys need to go away. I had to go to the mountains last week because I love I'm outside and I connect with nature. I hear God better. So you need to figure out how God connects with you. But if you're looking for strategy from God, then you actually need to take time away and enter him with your heart to get that strategy. Someone said, how can we register for the dream class? Registration opens January 1st and you register at askdrfaith.com. All right. Any other questions? Here I'm answering all the questions on Periscope because they're really good at it. I'm not going to answer any more questions. Make sure that you save your finances so you take the dream course, and we'll teach you all about numbers and colors and all that. How do you release someone you know is jealous and not good for you? How do you release someone you know that is jealous and not good for you? First of all, I would love to make sure that they're really jealous, right? Not saying that they're not, right? But you want to actually have like, okay, yeah, they did this and they said this. Because sometimes when we have gone through betrayal, have gone through abandonment, when people have ostracized us, we can have a tendency to feel like people are jealous or they're intimidated about us when they're really not, but it's our own projection. Issues in our heart, and then we project it on that person, and it's not really what they are. So I want you to make sure first that there's evidence that there is something that's going on. Someone says, I've relocated to Ashburn. Your resources, I don't know what to do. I'll answer that in a minute. Once you have clear evidence, guys, this is your life. You do not have to stay in relationships with people that are not pushing you forward, that are you down, that don't know how to celebrate you, that are it's your life. All you have to say is, hey, I love you, but in this season I'm not moving forward with you. Or you just say, hey, God is transitioning. Not that difficult, but some of us have difficulty with ending things because we struggle with rejection. We feel like if we tell them that we need some space or we need to move forward, then they're not going to like us. When people don't like us, then we're not valuable. Your identity is wrapped around what people think and how they feel around you. So you're not able to stand up for yourself and break toxic relationships. So you got to deal with that. Frustration with no vision, cycles, and patterns in your marriage. All right. So this is really important. And like I said, I'm going to be doing marriage scopes because we have our marriage retreat coming up. And the prices changed because we're early, so you could check that out. But vision in marriage has to be both parties, right? And I always tell couples, the person probably didn't have vision prior to getting. It's not something new. A lot of times when issues come up in marriage, they were there before you got married, right? That's why we do our marriage prep courses and things like that. And so one of the things that you want to do is pray for yourself. And then you want to just go to them and say, babe, this is what I'm seeing for this year. What are your thoughts? Instead of saying, tell me what God wants us to do, especially ladies, right? Say, God, and you could even ask simple things like, if it was a perfect year for you, what would it look like? Because sometimes people get stuck with the words vision, strategy. They don't know how to process that. So you say, if this year ran perfectly, look like? What would our finances look like? What would our children look like? What would our relationship with God look like? So you may want to figure out a different way to ask that question. And then also, and if they're like, no, I'm not interested in all that, then it's your job to seek God for the vision for your house and pray it into place as best as you can and work with the resources that you have. All right, one or two more. I will be off. And I said that like 30 minutes ago. I will be, let me see on Facebook if you guys have any tips on how to manage it all, family, business, and ministry. So Periscopes and now Facebook Lives on that, and I do have a blog on it. But this is what I say when people ask about how to manage it all. I'd say that you need to be able to discern the season that you're in. There's no such word as balance. The most balanced you're going to be is when you make God the center of your life, when you build your life around God and not God around your life. So what do I mean? A lot of people like they're not balanced because they make God kind of like a secondary thing. So my work, my children, my family, and I fit God in whenever I can. But if you make God the center, not meaning church all the time, but having a deep relationship with the Lord and really creating sacred time for devotion and walking with him, then he's going to help you align things. Now, I always, when I had babies, I didn't travel as much because the priority in that season was my small babies, right? So the way you balance it is by understanding what season that you're in. Me and my husband are activity phase of our life in terms of business, in terms of ministry. So that is a huge priority, right? But family is always first. So if this priority comes in the way of our family, and our family comes first. So you need to look at your priorities and then build around that. That is how you manage it all. But also be a good time management person. I chunk my days. I have days that are specifically my church, days that are specifically for my, Warring Ministries, my mentorship program, which I'm not mentoring this season because I didn't have the time, and days that are specifically for my business. Everything at 5 because I need time for my family. I am a hound at my time, and I've said this over and over. So if you want to be productive, you've got to be a good steward of your time. And so you need to assign to your time. Every hour, you should be able to account for it. Either I was sleeping, or I took a break to watch TV, or I was writing. You need to be accountable. It is one of the things that God's going to ask we do with our time. If you dream about your leaders and the leaders are close to them, do you bring it to them? If you are close to your leaders, you should be able to tell them the dreams that you're having. One of the things the trying to create at our church legacy center is that for our church members to be able to email dreams that they have about the church, that they have about leadership. Because the thing is, God is not just speaking to the prophet. There are people, there are children that God speaks to that can hear, that can sense. And so if you say you're close to your leaders in a healthy environment, there should be a mechanism. You may not be able to go right up to them, but there should be steps in how you can get revelation to them. This is really important to have important healthy church culture, because if you're in a healthy church, the idea is that everybody hears and God can speak to anybody, right? That doesn't mean everything that you say or that you hear and you give us, then we're going to do. No, because our job is to steward what you give us, weigh it, but our job is also to hear it out. And so you should be able to tell your leaders when you have dreams concerning them, even if you feel like it's bad. Now, if they're unhealthy, if they're controlling, it may not go so well for you. So you also need to be able to discern your leaders' hearts and how to receive information. All right. Someone said, how can I sow a seed into your ministry? Thank you. You can PayPal info@AskDrFaith.com, or you can go to warringministriesint.org and press donate there. Okay. All right. What if and this is my last one. What if tell you about meeting someone like a mate, but God shows you nothing? All right. The first mistake that you have made is you've called them so-called prophets. What that means is that your heart toward is already not in a posture of honor, because by saying so-called prophets is that you don't really believe if they're prophets, right? And so that already negates your ability. They've said the way that you honor a person always dictates how you receive from them. So if you don't really respect someone, if you don't really believe in the prophetic, when people words to you because your heart, your honor, the posture is not right, those words could be the word of the Lord, but because your heart is not in a place of honor, those words could fall to the ground, and then you blame the prophets, but it was actually a posture issue, right? So you want to make sure that you check your heart concerning your posture towards the prophets, towards prophetic people. When people make words about mates, and when we train prophets, so our School of the Prophets, people ask me about this all the time. It's August 16th through the 20th this year, because we're also doing a School of the Apostles, and we're doing a school for teachers. Pastors. So Monday and Tuesday. Monday is going to be teachers and pastors. Wednesday is going to be evangelists and No, I don't know. All day we're going to do a whole training on apostles and prophets. That's August 16th through the 20th. When we train people that you want to stay away from mates, dates, and babies when you're first starting, right? So if this is a seasoned prophet, then, and you don't know, God hasn't, yeah, prophets are going to tell you things that God has not told you. The point of the prophetic is not to tell you things that you know. And that's a lie that goes around, that every prophetic word has to be confirmation. No, the job prophets and true prophets is to bring the future into the present. So just because you don't know it or you've never heard it does not mean it's not the word of the Lord. But what you do is you put that word in your back pocket and say, okay, if this is God, then it will. But you don't have to start doubting or disparaging the prophetic word that you got just because you didn't hear it. And a lot of you guys have actually done that. And there's certain words that you've gotten from the Lord that you have disparaged and you dishonored or discredited the messenger, and those words have not come to pass. And it looks like the messenger is false, but it's because your heart. Check that. Someone is asking if our career conference is online. Right now it's not. I don't know. We'll have to speak to our team if we're going to open up an online registration. But there's some things that you just need to, right? We are in a virtual culture. I do all my businesses via webinars, but we started having our School of the Prophets live because there's levels of impartation that you cannot get via. The career conference is one of those things that for our Pioneer Girls, we had a woman buy a one-way ticket on a bus. She rode a bus all the way from Texas and came with no return ticket. Provided for her hotel room. She provided her a way back because her heart was to encounter that. Someone's asking, will there be a class for dancers? Yes, we have a professional choreographer. She's amazing. Do a whole workshop on dancers. We're going to activate all the creatives in the prophetic, and then we're going to do a workshop on painting, on writing, on dance, on voice, visual arts, all that stuff. So we'd love for you guys to join us. Guys, check it out, AskDrFaith.com. All the courses are there. LegacyCenterChurch.org to register for the career conference. And then the dream class and all that opens up in a week.